Hello, and welcome back to From a Head Teacher's Perspective with me, Paul Urry. One of the most significant shifts from excellent teaching to effective leadership is this. You stop seeing the school as a collection of separate parts and begin to see it as a connected system. As a teacher, your focus is necessarily local. Your classroom, your pupils, your subject, your immediate responsibilities. That focus is not a weakness. It's essential to good teaching. But leadership requires a wider lens. Schools are not linear organizations. They are complex systems where actions in one area affect outcomes elsewhere, often in ways that are not immediately visible. A change intended to improve one aspect of practice can create pressure, confusion, or unintended consequences in another. Understanding this is foundational to leadership maturity. When leaders fail to see the system, problems are often treated in isolation. Initiatives multiply, workload increases, and staff feel pulled in different directions. Improvement becomes fragmented rather than coherent. When leaders understand the system, decisions become more thoughtful. They consider not just what needs to change, but how that change will interact with everything else. As a subject leader, systems thinking matters deeply. You may be leading a curriculum change, refining assessment, or supporting teacher development. These actions do not sit in isolation. They interact with timetables, workload, behaviour systems, staff confidence, and school priorities. Seeing the bigger picture allows you to lead with that intelligence rather than urgency. Systems thinking begins with recognizing interdependence. Teaching and learning are influenced by curriculum design, pedagogical choices, assessment practices, behaviour systems, professional development, and leadership decisions. These come together to form the school culture of trust. None of these operate alone. For example, inconsistency in assessment may not be a marking problem. It may be a curriculum sequencing issue. A behaviour concern may not be about sanctions, but about clarity, routines, or relationships. Low engagement may reflect workload, confidence, or past experiences of change. Leaders who understand systems resist simplistic explanations. They ask deeper questions. What is this connected to? Where else might this be felt? What is this a symptom of rather than the root cause? This approach prevents blame. Instead of personalizing issues, staff aren't doing this properly, leaders begin to explore structural and cultural factors. What in the system is making this difficult? This shift changes the tone of leadership conversations. They become more professional, more humane, more productive. Seeing the bigger picture also helps leaders prioritize. Schools are busy environments with endless possibilities for improvement. Without system awareness, leaders can chase too many initiatives at once. The result is overload rather than impact. System-aware leaders understand capacity. They recognize that time, energy, and attention are finite. They make deliberate choices about what to focus on now and what to sequence later and what to leave alone. This does not mean lowering ambition. It means aligning ambition with reality. Leadership maturity shows in knowing when to push and when to pause. Another important aspect of systems thinking is understanding feedback loops. Actions in schools often create responses that feed back into the system. A new policy may initially improve consistency, but over time reduce professional autonomy. Increased monitoring may raise standards in the short term, but damage trust if not handled carefully. Leaders who see the system pay attention to these patterns. They monitor not just outcomes, but experience. They ask, how is this being experienced by staff? What behaviours is this encouraging? What unintended messages might this be sending? This reflective stance allows leaders to adjust before problems become embedded. Seeing the bigger picture also requires leaders to understand history. Schools carry memory. Previous initiatives, leadership changes, inspections, and reforms shape how current actions are received. Staff may respond not just to what is happening now, but to what it reminds them of. System-aware leaders take time to understand this context. They listen. They ask questions. They avoid assuming resistance is about unwillingness rather than experience. This does not mean avoiding change. It means leading change with insight. As a subject leader, system thinking helps you position your work wisely. Rather than presenting subject improvement as an additional demand, you can frame it as contributing to existing priorities. Rather than pushing isolated initiatives, you can align with whole school direction. This alignment builds credibility. People are more willing to engage when they see how their efforts fit into a coherent whole. Systems thinking also protects leaders from themselves. When leaders understand complexity, they are less likely to take every challenge personally. They recognize that not every difficulty reflects failure. Some reflect the natural tension of change within a complex organization. This perspective supports resilience. Leadership becomes less about fixing everything and more about holding the system steady while guiding improvement. Seeing the bigger picture does not mean becoming detached. It means becoming thoughtful. It allows leaders to make decisions that are sustainable rather than reactive. It supports leadership that is calm, fair, and strategic. And it marks a crucial transition from leading tasks to leading understanding. That transition defines effective leadership in schools. So pause for reflection and take some time to consider these. Where have you seen unintended consequences from well-intended changes? How does your subject leadership interact with wider school systems? What questions could help you see issues more systematically? Leadership grows when you stop asking, what should I do next? And start asking, how does this fit into the whole? The accompanying workbook is designed to support this process, helping you reflect on your leadership habits, identify next steps, and translate insight into action as your leadership continues to develop. Take time individually or in a group to work through the prompts, understand the meaning, and create actions to move forward. Thank you. And until next time, goodbye.